Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphanlast, aka Skylar Madison, and today we're going to be spending some time honoring Turtletooth. And who is Turtletooth? In my opinion, he's one of the major players that's shaped OpenToonz into what it is today, within the course of a little more than a year. Through the majority of a year, I feel like I've gotten to know Turtletooth a little bit, and I feel like OpenToonz developers are oftentimes unsung, unrecognized, and not given the recognition they deserve. Now, I'm just a small channel on YouTube, so all I can do is provide a video to show his accomplishments. It's not $1 billion, but making a video is what I can do. Knowing that I have a place in the OpenToonz community, people will see and people will hear, and hopefully they'll remember and recognize the guy. Just look at the screen right now. This is what OpenToonz looked like when it first launched, late 2016. On the surface, it doesn't look too much different than a customized layout to the rooms. The rooms, or tabs at the top of the screen, were called Cleanup, Pit Edit, Ink Paint, a room for the X sheet with no viewer, batches, and browser. Now, I go into the file menu and notice how the layout of the top menus is different. In fact, they kept changing what you could access from the menus depending on what room you're in. In fact, while recording this video, I was actually baffled at how I could change the interface back to the default 1.1.3 layout. And ultimately, Turtletooth is the man responsible for giving OpenToonz the layout that it currently has. And I have to say, it's much more user-friendly, intuitive, predictable, and just generally better with the way Turtletooth customized OpenToonz to be. Eventually, I had to look in nearly every menu until I could actually find the preferences. Once there, I click on Interface and change it back to the Turtletooth's default setting. Now, ultimately, you could do the exact same thing, just in reverse, and go into File, Preferences, Interface, and change it to the Studio Ghibli format. However, I think that you're going to find that the initial layout of OpenToonz really isn't that desirable in comparison to what Turtletooth has done. This interface is something that Turtletooth is proud of, and as he should be. And this is actually one of the first things that he did for OpenToonz. In fact, it was the third thing he worked on. And just with this alone, he's made the program easier to understand, given us a better workflow, and made OpenToonz easier to teach. One thing that Turtletooth put into place is the FFmpeg integration. This right here allows you to render your animation as an MP4, and quite frankly, the only reason why I blog about OpenToonz and not some other program is due to Turtletooth, and that is because he implemented the FFmpeg integration. What's the point of animating something if you can't turn it into an MP4? Seriously, it's pointless, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that feels that way. But thanks to Turtletooth, OpenToonz can render MP4s. You just need to do a tiny bit of work on your end to enable OpenToonz to do it. But it can render MP4s. This gave OpenToonz a huge step forward, being a viable alternative to paid commercial animation software. He also made it so that your default colors for your onion skins are green and red, because most animation software uses those colors. Turtletooth also put into place drawing substitution and ensured that it worked. On the screen, you can see me making levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then, on the timeline, I select frame 1, which has level 1 on it. And once I press Q or W on the keyboard, I'm able to change what level on the level strip is placed on frame 1 without having to do anything with my mouse, just pressing Q and W. Turtletooth has actually gone a step above and beyond in that in the next version of OpenToonz, you'll be able to do this exact same task on behalf of sub-X sheets without having to enter into the sub-X sheet. You just go ahead and press Q or W and you'll be able to change what level appears on any given frame. In fact, if you go into the Toonz Harley Quinn guide and type in drawing substitution, it comes up with absolutely no results. The reason for this is because it simply didn't exist when OpenToonz first launched, and because it doesn't exist even in the Toonz sister program. Vector lines that have 0 thickness will not show up on the final render, and Turtletooth decided that this made 0 thickness lines really effective for coloring, especially for shadows and highlights. Turtletooth made it so that while you're creating your animation, you're able to show and hide your 0 thickness lines by pressing Shift / on the keyboard. When OpenToonz first launched, there was a huge issue where no one knew how to use OpenToonz and didn't know how OpenToonz saved work. When OpenToonz first launched, there was a huge issue where no one knew how to use OpenToonz and didn't know how OpenToonz saved the work they did. People would most often go, File, Save Scene, and then quit the program, only to find that they lost all of their animation work when they'd open the program the next time. I personally ran into this problem as well. New users just simply didn't know how to save their work, and this led to a really bad first impression of OpenToonz. Many people just threw their hands up in the air and just decided that the program had a horrible layout because Turtletooth hadn't changed it yet, and OpenToonz just couldn't save animation, so they gave up. Many experienced and would-be animators just quit. But thanks to Turtletooth, he made sure that there was a Save All button, that it was as accessible as possible, and that pressing Ctrl-S would do the Save All function as well. He also made it so that when you go to quit OpenToonz, a pop-up will appear and ask if you want to save or discard your work. This has made it so that new users are willing to learn the program and keep coming back, because they know that their work is safe. He also made it so that you can import JPEG images. Even though JPEG images aren't the best image format and lose quite a bit of resolution, many people are only familiar with JPEGs. So this made OpenToonz more accessible to people who never really researched various image file formats. Meaning, he made it more user-friendly to the most number of people humanly possible. He made it so that you can import MP3 files into OpenToonz. This makes it so that people can work with a familiar file format for sound effects and soundtracks. This streamlined OpenToonz. But of course, if you want to be able to import MP3s, you need to get FFmpeg implemented into your OpenToonz setup. It's just 10 minutes worth of work. Of course, most or all of the themes in OpenToonz are due to Turtletooth. Yes, he had help with the redevelopment of various icons and graphical elements, but he is the man that knew how to implement everything with the coding knowledge. He also made it so that audio can play and be toggled on and off in OpenToonz. The startup pop-up wouldn't even exist without Turtletooth. When you open up OpenToonz initially, you'll always get this startup pop-up, and it's oftentimes taken for granted. Here you can select your project, name your scene, select where it saves your documents, customize your camera size, change the resolution, change the DPI, all of this when you initially open up OpenToonz. You can also go into a previous project. After he implemented the FFmpeg implementation, he had to do multiple fixes and improvements on it. And this is his greatest undertaking, because he didn't know C++ very well when he initially set out to make the FFmpeg integration a reality. And Turtletooth is the sole person that deserves credit for the X-Sheet toolbar and the render button on the render options menu. It would have never come into being without Turtletooth. The X-Sheet toolbar makes using OpenToonz an order of magnitude easier to teach, easier to use, and generally a more pleasing workflow experience when compared to all previous iterations of OpenToonz. And the render button on the render options menu once again speeds up the workflow for experienced people using OpenToonz and makes things easier for newcomers. It reduces a two-step process into a one-step process. I have to say, these 2 additions to Opentoonz are top-notch. A lot that's on the last 2 pages on Turtletooth's GitHub page I've already covered in the most recent OTX video. The coolness of what we see in OTX is all due to Turtletooth. He's got 6 GitHub pages full of bug fixes and general technical jargon that just simply goes over my head. And even if I understood it all, I don't think I'd be able to explain any of it in layman's terms. So what I've shown you here, what I've described to you here, is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what Turtletooth has contributed to Opentoonz within a little over a year. Please understand that this is a body of work where he has truly taken Opentoonz from a brittle, broken state and made it streamlined and competitive when compared to commercial animation software. And although I feel Opentoonz still has ways to go, I feel as though it rests in a place of relevance. And a good portion of Opentoonz's relevance in the realm of animation software is owed to the hard work of Turtletooth. So if you guys happen to have a nice bottle of wine handy and a wine glass, feel free to hold it up and give a toast honoring Turtletooth. And as I go ahead and wrap this video up, I'm going to provide 2 links in the video description below. One to Turtletooth's YouTube page, and one leading to Turtletooth's GitHub page, the one that I've been on throughout the course of this video. And that pretty much concludes it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, please like, share, and subscribe anyways. Thank you for your time.